Good evening, teacher.
Hello, good evening, Carolina. How are you? Is everything okay?
Yes, thank you, teacher.
Very good. Great. Thanks for being here on time. Also you, Stefania, I hope everything is okay. Are you there?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, perfect. There you go. Thank you for being here again. I'm going to start working with you too. All right. Give me 1 second. I'm going to explain how we're going to evaluate this and how we're going to work with these presentations. Okay, now again, the following is very important. I'm going to mention something. And it's related to the rules and how you can ask for permission, how you can do it. Why? Because again, if we don't have those rules, then we're going to have only exceptions, and it's going to be like that for everybody and every time. And right, it doesn't have to be like that. It's very important to be organized and to have everything prepared. All right. If you have some important things, you need to tell me, but you need to tell me that on time, right? Usually the very important things are always, right, plans days ahead. Or if it's an emergency, it's understandable, but if it's an emergency, and then that emergency needs to be, right, communicated, let's say, to management, and then you're going to, well, obtain your permission and so on. Okay, I'm going to explain why I'm saying that. Just give me 1 second to explain every detail.
Teacher, I have a question.
Yes.
Until when is the vocabulary?
Today. Everything is until today. As I was mentioning even in the group, Stefania, everything, all the recordings and the vocabulary, it's until today at 11:59 p.m. All right?
Okay,
Everything.
teacher. Could you extend, please? And
I'm
only
going to
the vocabulary, please.
the
Yes,
vocabulary.
teacher, please.
Okay, let me see. Again, if I do that, remember that the last course, right? I did that once, then I needed to do that once again, and it's always like a circle, right? And it's not positive in the sense that it's okay, I understand, all right? Believe me that I understand, but if I just say yes to everything, it's going to be out of control in a certain way. And perhaps you're not going to take advantage of that, but some people may take advantage of that, okay? And that's going to be out of my hands. And I don't know what I'm going to say when I give permission to some people and to or not. That's why I want to be like that, all right? Following the rules with everybody. So again, I can do that, but it's going to be up to you. But it's not going to be for the 100%, all right? The vocabulary. You're only going to have 75. Okay, that's going to be the maximum. Again, that's in order for us to know that it's going to happen like that. In the next time, instead of having that one, it's not going to be 75. If you do it again, and I can extend that once again, okay, but it's going to be 50 only. All right. So I don't know, you tell me. We can extend. I don't have any problems. You can do it for tomorrow, but it's going to be 75% of the total. All right. Do you agree with that one? Let me know, please.
No, teacher.
Oh, what do you say? It's up to you. I mean, I can extend that. You can do it up to today, 11:59 p.m. It's going to be the 100. If you do it for tomorrow, it's going to be that 75. Okay. And again, I'm doing this not because of all of you, but because I need to set those rules over there. All right. So what do you say? It's up to you. You tell me.
No, it's okay for
All right.
today. Yeah.
Okay, but don't get mad. All right. You know that I don't want to be the bad guy. I'm going to turn on my camera so that you see that I'm not angry or I'm not the bad guy. Okay. It's just I need to do that again. Believe me, when I did that the last time, most of you were asking me for that permission, and then it goes like that, and some people were taking advantage of that. All right, and I cannot allow that. It's very important for me to establish those rules. So again, please, you can do it. You're not going to have a 0 for tomorrow. You can do it for tomorrow, but take into account that it's going to be that way. Okay, and I'm going to try to find a way, all right, to perhaps to make up for that, for those 25 points, if you're telling me that, but you need to tell me that before. Okay, that's also something I wanted to tell you. Today, I think 2 people told me that they are not going to be able to participate because they have very important events, but they told me that today. But if it's today, all right, well, I cannot do anything about it. First, you need to ask for permission to management, right? And then they need to accept that one. For example, Melanie, right? Melanie, she told me many days before on Tuesday that she was not going to be able to be today. That's why she worked on her presentation yesterday, right? And Carolina was before that presentation. So that's good. She was responsible. And she, 4 days before the presentation, told me, I need to go to the doctor that day, teacher. Please, I need, well, what can I do? I told her, right? Please, you need to give the presentation then on Thursday. Then you're going to have the perfect score if you want, right? If you do everything, but she did it before. But if you, right, if you tell me something today, and today, 2 hours or 1 hour before the presentation, you tell me I cannot be there because of something that perhaps is not an emergency or is not something that important or is not something that you told me or you told management, all right, I cannot do anything. And I'm going to do the same with your partners. They are going to be able to work with their presentations, but it's only going to be 50% as it established here. If you were able to read the rules, all right, it's going to be as if they were presenting that late. Okay, they are going to have their presentations, but it's only going to be 50% of the total. Okay, so I'm fair with all of you, because if you were able to work for today, I know that perhaps you also had some other things. It's good. You're going to have your presentation over the 100%, but the ones who are not working today, right, with the exception of Melanie, who did that yesterday, are only going to be with the 50%. Okay, I mentioned that to you so that you know that as well. And that's it. I don't know if you have any questions or any comments. You can tell me. Already, it's important that I receive some feedback. I'm doing these kind of things because of this time that I've been working. Do you have any comments? Perhaps even you can give me some recommendations related to that. You know, I don't want to be that guy, I told you. So I want to perceive and I want to know what you think. Do you have any comments? Let me know. You can give me again recommendations, suggestions, or don't be like that, or I don't know, or if it's not fair, you can do it. What do you say? Anything, or you can tell me, I agree with you, teacher, or Luis, right? I don't like when you call me teacher or Mr. or like that. You can call me Luis. If I ask you, for example, Estefania, what do you think? Do you agree or do you understand this way that I have of thinking this way, or what do you think of these rules that I set for you?
No, teacher, I agree. Maybe it's because the presentation is in Friday, and people sometimes have things to do in Friday, but they follow the rules is the correct way.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I agree.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. And I agree with you on that one, Estefania. Friday is one of those days in which sometimes, or right, many students don't attend, perhaps because of that or because, I don't know, many other reasons, right? But I prefer to do this also sometimes on Mondays. It was like that before, but the things with doing that on Monday is that our last class is Friday. And if we do this on Mondays, the third presentation is going to be Monday. We are only going to have Wednesday to learn the new content, and Friday is going to be the last final oral presentation. So it's going to be like you're not going to have that much time to work between those oral presentations, all right? I'm going to try to analyze that one, but I agree with you. The idea of working perhaps these presentations on Monday would be good because you would also have some extra time, right, to work on those presentations, okay? So if you agree, and that is going to be for the next one, I can do that, but you need to understand that the 4th unit is only going to have 1 day to be covered, all right, in that sense. So you need to analyze that as well. But I'm going to perhaps tell that to your partners if they agree. And what do you say, Carolina? Again, what do you think about this? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Or do you have any extra comments like Estefania? Let me know.
I agree with you, teacher. I really understand the situation and why do you have to follow the rules? So I don't have any comment.
Okay, thank you very much. So With that said, with these rules mentioned, and again, I'm going to take that into account because I agree with you, Stefania, but today, as it was established for today, and everybody agreed, right, and we knew the rules, and it was like that, we need to work on that today. So this is what I'm going to take into account. Once again, pronunciation, all right, be careful with that. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not talking about accent. You don't need to speak like an American. You don't need to speak like an Australian, like a British guy right now, but you need to use good pronunciation, right? That's different. Accent is one thing and pronunciation is a different thing. Vocabulary, conjugation, and structures, right? Try to think carefully. Don't use complex ideas if you don't know how to use them. And you don't need to speak fast, right? Try to do it at a moderate pace. And try to say things right that you're sure that you, well, know how to express correctly. Then paraphrasing, this is important when you're answering and asking questions. This is related to that, right? You need to ask 3 questions and answer to 3 questions. And time management, right? Remember, 10 minutes, 9 minutes and 30 seconds, it's acceptable, and 10 minutes and 30 seconds as well. More than that or less than that is going to affect your final score. All right. So with that said, first I want to ask if one of you wants to start. All right. If not, I'm going to select one, but what do you say, Stefania, Carolina? Which of you? Okay, Carolina, you raised your hand, I think. I think he, okay. Okay, this time it was Carolina because of her hat. All right. So get ready, please. You're going to share your screen, but I'm going to show you one more thing also. And in the meantime, please, it's very important that you take notes, Stefania. Why? Because of the questions that you need to ask. Remember that they cannot be general questions, right? If you're going to talk about dogs, you cannot ask, for example, and why did you choose or write that topic? It's a good question. It's very good to know that, but it cannot be like that, all right? You need to ask something related to the presentation itself, something that was mentioned that. For example, if Carolina mentioned the types of breeds that there are with dogs, Stefania may ask about that, right? And she may say, right, Stefania or Carolina, you said that there are 5 types of breeds, and you mentioned that, and that. Did you take into account this one, or can you repeat? Even you can say that. Can you repeat what those breeds are and what the differences are? That's one kind of question because it's specific, okay? This is what I'm going to do. I did this with Melanie. These are some pronunciation mistakes that you may have, and vocabulary, again, conjugation and structure mistakes that you may have. Everything is going to be here. For example, here I'm going to work with you, Carolina, this time. While you are working on your presentation, all right, I'm going to be writing down important information about you. Right, it's going to be like that. And then I'm going to give you my feedback and we're going to start working. So with that said, I stop sharing my screen. You can start sharing yours. Be sure that you have your timer. All
Yes,
right.
teacher.
And you have 10 minutes to work on this.
Okay, teacher. Can you see?
It's loading, but yes. Okay, now I see
Okay.
it.
Thank
Very
you,
good.
teacher.
It's over there. There you go. So you tell me, I'm going to start now so that I start my timer as well.
Okay, teacher. Okay, I'm going to start now, teacher, please.
Great, go ahead.
Okay. Good night, classmates and teacher. My name is Carolina Lopez, and today I'm going to talk about social media. Okay. To introduce this presentation, I would like to explain and say what is social media. Social media is any digital tool that allows users to quickly create and share content with the public. There are many types of social media, but for example, we have some as Twitter and Facebook in which you can share what are you thinking, or others like Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, in which you can share photos or even videos saying what you are thinking, what you are doing, and other things that you want to share. Some important questions that we have about social media could be, how does it work? Well, since social media covers so many different kinds of websites and applications, the function of these tools also varies. However, most social media sites start with a user creating a profile, usually by providing a name and an email address. After you have this username, you can start creating some things that you want. For instance, an Instagram user with a new account can take a picture and share it on their profile with a caption. In addition, to create content for their profile, social media users can find other users whose content they want to follow or comment on. Depending on the type of social media a user may follow, for example, in Instagram, that you have followers and you follow other people that you would like to know about their content. Another could be as a friend, for example, in Facebook, that you meet people and you may have friends, or they may subscribe, that is usually in YouTube, in which you can have a lot of subscribers, and also you can subscribe to any channel that you like. Well, social media often uses feeds that allow users to scroll through content. Social media companies use algorithms based on a user's profile data to determine the content that appears and the order that it appears in. The feed will include content from followed users as well as entities that pay to promote their content. What does it mean? Well, I will say that at least 80% of the people that live in the world has or uses at least one type of social media. So what do these impress to have a lot of people? It's seeing what you are looking for. For example, if you start on Instagram, if you start follow someone who is really healthy and also publish some things about health food and maybe sports, something like that, Instagram is going to see what you are looking for, and then it's going to show you more people that has those kind of contents. The next time that you enter to Instagram, you maybe don't have to look for this kind of contents because it's appear automatically. Well, now I'm going to talk about the types of social media that, as I mentioned before, are a lot, but the most important are four, which are social networks. These social networks are a social media in which you can share what you are thinking, and you can share a writing or maybe publish any thought that you have. For example, Facebook or Twitter, in which you can publish what you are thinking, what you are feeling, maybe some opinion. Media networks is the networks in which you can follow and in which you can publish videos and photos. That means, for example, in Instagram, you can publish any photo that you take in a second, and then you can publish and your followers are going to see. In YouTube, you can share your life through videos. Those are the famous YouTubers that also spend their lives doing those kind of contents to receive money. This works as YouTube gives YouTubers some money when they have a quantity of subscribers. I mean, for example, 1,000. For the quantity of views and subscribers, they receive a money. The other type of social networks are discussion networks. That are networks in which I will say that it's more serious than the others, because in these networks you are be able to discuss with other people. That means that you can give an opinion, another person in all around the world can answer you. Maybe she or he will have the same opinion, or maybe they have an opposite opinion. So be careful with that, because you don't know how kind of persons you will able to know. Some example of this is WordPress, that in my personal experience, I didn't use it, but I think could be interesting if you know how to use it. And the last social network is review networks, which are a social media that you can talking with the creator of the application, for example, Google Play and App Store, in which, for example, you download any application, I mean, WhatsApp, for example, and you don't like anything about WhatsApp. So you can go through Google Play or maybe App Store, and you can put in the comments, I don't like WhatsApp because I think it's really slow. And then the owner is going to answer you, or maybe not, but is going to read your opinion about that. So those are, also you can punctuate the application with the stars. So those are review networks. As all the things in life, social media has good and bad things. I will start saying and explaining the good things of social media. First, virtual communities can help teens feel supported and connected. What does it mean? Usually when we are teenagers, we don't feel comfortable, maybe in our families, in the school, or maybe with a group that are around us. So thanks to technology and social media, you can connect with people who live all around the world, as I said before. So maybe you can find a group which you feel really comfortable. I mean, for example, if you really like to read and nobody reads in your family or maybe in your school, you can go through any social network, for example, Instagram, Facebook, and you can join to any group that has, for example, the title readers. So the people who is usually in those groups, which has to be for all around the world, have the same feelings that you about books, for example. The second point could be social media can be used to create a positive digital footprint and search results. I will give you an example of this that is really, really famous, which is Wikipedia, that most of the students, including me, uses to do a homework or maybe investigate something. Develop critical thinking by using social media for school projects. I think that is good because you can, while you are investigating any topic, thinking about that. So this is a develop critical thinking. Also, social media can help students learn essential job skills. This is a reference of, for example, communication, which is a synonym of essential job skills, because when you are in social media, you have the necessity of talking with other people, well, if you want. And the last point is social media increases impact and knowledge of world events. This is really true because thanks to social media, we have information for all around the world. So everybody is connecting what is happening in another countries. The last point is the bad things about social media, which are depression and anxiety, cyberbullying, FOMO, that is a phenomenon that means fear of missing out, unrealistic expectation, negative body image. And I can mention a lot of bad things because when we are behind a computer or maybe behind a cell phone, we can't really perceive the reality. So this could affect us in a bad way. With this, I finish. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Carolina. Let me stop that one. Very good. We have the 10 minutes and everything is very good. All right. Now I'm going to start sharing my screen. I'm going to give you some feedback. And in the meantime, while I'm doing that, please, Estefania and Majo, try to think of some questions that you may ask to Carolina. All right. So let me begin. I'm going to show you what I was doing. I forgot the last thing I was writing down. It doesn't matter. Okay, let's share. Give me 1 second. There you go. All right. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do first. I think you are going to understand even better now because I was doing the same with Melanie yesterday, right? So I was able to first take notes. In this first part, everything related to expressions and some things that you need to improve, vocabulary, expressions, and conjugations mainly. And in this last part, everything related to pronunciation. All right. For example, to give the first greeting to start something that is at night or in the evening, it's better not to use good night, but good evening, right? To start that. Good night is going to be to say bye, right? At that time. So good evening instead of that one. Then you can share what are you thinking? Later on, you use the correct order, right? What you are thinking. Why? This is embedded question. When you use embedded question, you don't use question order. So this is incorrect, right? You don't say, what are you thinking? You say what you are thinking, even if it's a question, right? Even if it's a question because it's part of a sentence. That's an embedded question, right? It's a question inside another question or a question inside a sentence. Then could be this one, it's okay. I mean, the structure, how does it work when you were talking about social media? But the way when you are speaking, when you're talking, and you mention that as part of another question as well, or another sentence, it's also embedded question. So it's the same as above. You don't use the auxiliary, directly conjugate the member, right? Could be how it works instead of how does it work. If it's only the question that you have in your presentation, it's very good, all right? Because that question is good. But if you're using that question inside another one as part of your speech and your presentation, you have to use the embedded question logic, all right? So sentence order. Then prepositions on Facebook, right? On Instagram, on YouTube. 80, this one goes here. This is related to pronunciation. This one was after this. 80, the stress in the first part, right? Percent, 80%. Then this one is related to, let me see. Yes, this was not clear. I wrote this because you mentioned something like this, but I think you were talking about enterprises, companies, and places like that. Or did you want to say something different here, Carolina? Because I wrote this, what do these impress, something like that. But I think you were talking about companies, right? Or enterprises. Is that correct? Or let me know, please.
Yes, teacher, it was about companies.
Okay, good. So instead of this one, you should change this first to plural, right? It's going to be like that. These, and then you're going to say these companies or these enterprises, right? So this is a mistake in terms of the expression. This one also is not here, actually. It's also conjugation, sorry, pronunciation. Media, that one like E, all right? Media networks, unlike E. Media, the same, right? Preposition over here, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. Those kinds of contents, that's okay, but it's informal. If you're talking about content in general, try to keep it singular, even if it's a lot. That kind of content, right? For example, all that kind of content that they produce on YouTube. Even though you're talking about many people, it's only one kind of content, all right? That can be divided in many groups. Then I think this was a slide, all right? But I wrote it down anyway. Receive a money. Perhaps it was just something that I heard or you mixed that a little bit, but you only say, right, when they receive money or an amount of money. I'm not sure about that one. Perhaps it was something little that happened, but just in case I wrote that down. Answer to you, all right? They answer to you. Then instead of punctuate, when you're talking about stars, right? You rate, all right? You rate those. You don't punctuate, you rate. Then in other countries, right? In other countries, not another ones, in other countries, and you don't say phenomenon, you have two options, all right? Or phenomenon. You say phenomena or phenomenon. all right, with O-N at the end, only those two. It depends if it's plural or singular, all right? And these ones, again, I know that you can pronounce these very well, but you can improve even more, and at least perhaps in the presentation, this one like right? Public, profile, right? Aisle, public, profile, what I told you, right? Percent, media, also I told you that. This one, entities, right? The entities. This one like, all right, automatically, comfortable, all right, comfortable, Wikipedia, all right, Wikipedia, and events, all right, and that's it. Okay, this is, again, I'm giving you this, then I'm going to mention all the positive things, but this is related to vocabulary and pronunciation. And as I was explaining, and this is for everybody, Stephanie and Maho as well, I gave you the explanation now. If you have any doubts or any questions, please let me know right now. Why? Because the logic of this is the following. Everything that is here is something that you have to improve. Why? Because you need to show me that you understood what I told you. Because next class, right, I'm going to ask you, Carolina, why this was a mistake, and this, and this, and you need to explain everything, right? And you're going to tell me, this was because of this, it's good evening, not good night. Here, because of the preposition, we use on with Facebook and with social network, we don't use in. Then this one, because it's better to use it in singular when you talk about content, even though there's a lot, and so on and so forth. And you're going to read all these words, right, with the right with the right pronunciation and the right stress, and it also goes to this part. So if the next time I ask you about this and you answer correctly, I delete this one. First, I'm going to turn that green. I'm going to ask you a second time, and if you answer correctly, I'm going to delete this one. If not, you're going to keep, all right, working on this until you answer correctly. Okay, do you have any questions about this before going to the other part of the feedback that is very short, and then the questions? Carolina, what do you say?
No, teacher, it's okay.
Very good. Right now, I'm being extensive with this because this is the first time we're working with these oral presentations, right? The next one, I'm only going to give you a short feedback. This is like this, and that, and period, all right? But you know now how this works. Now, in the positive side, it was a very good, all right, time management, all right, 10 minutes, so very good. Your presentation was very good as well. It was very interesting. I know that you know very well what you were talking about. You were reading parts of your presentation, but that was not it. After reading, you were giving extra information, right? And you were sure and you knew what you were talking about. And that's very positive because there I can see how you paraphrase, how you use your own words, and how you use all these other strategies that you have perhaps to make your presentation complete and have everything you need to have in those 10 minutes, right? So it was very positive in general. That's it. I don't know if you have any extra questions. Good, very good. You're welcome, Carolina. So that's it on my side. I'm going now with you. Well, Stefania, we can start with you. One question to start with. Ask one question to Carolina, please.
Okay, Carol, do you think that social networks like Facebook, Instagram are really necessary?
Well, I think no, it's not really necessary because before social networks were invented, people survived without that. But I think in those times, it is a necessity for almost 80%, as I said in the presentation, because since children has the necessity of have a cell phone, even if they are outside their homes. So I think it's not really necessary, but I don't know.
Okay, thank you very much. Good. All right. So that question is very good. It was part of what Carolina mentioned, and I think it was followed with logic. All right. Just be careful. Remember, it's going to be percent, right, at the end, in the last part, the stress. And when you say children, it's plural. So when children have, right, they may have or may not have the necessity, right, of using those social networks. Good. Good, I agree. You're giving two kind of answers over there, but I agree with your point of view, because even though it's not necessary to survive, right? It's not something that we need as food. It's something that is part of the way of living we have now, right? Of social contact, communication, and so on. Good. I'm going to go with you now, Majo, please. Something related to Carolina's presentations, please.
Hi, teacher. Good evening, Carol. My question is, what do you think about the excessive use of social networks?
Okay, well, I think it's a problem that our society has nowadays, because I think, as the teacher said, with social networks, it is a kind of a way that all the humans have in those days. But as I mentioned in the presentation, have a lot of negative things. So I think it's bad, especially for young people, because I think older people don't use it a lot. Well, some, but in special for children and maybe teenagers, it is really bad.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Good. And the part I don't remember very well, Carolina, you said society, right? I don't remember if you used an auxiliary before. If not, it was okay to say has, right? Our society has. But if you used one auxiliary before, it's okay to use have. I'm not sure of that one, but if it's without auxiliary, it's okay to conjugate that as singular only. Okay, but that was good. Very good. One more, so that you have the three. Anybody, please, Estefania or Majo? It's going to be good for you as well, because you need to ask three in total, right? One more, please. Any of you, Stefania or Majo?
Okay, me again.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Okay. Carito, which of the social media is the most used? Do you know?
Yes, well, I didn't talk about too much this social media in the presentation, but it's WhatsApp that has almost 1 billion of people who is using. So it is a lot.
Very good. Thank you very much. Great. There you go. So it is as simple as that. Okay. I'm not going to be like, all right, very strict in the way you are going to ask the questions or answer the questions. It doesn't matter. Here, what matters is the logic that you're following to ask those questions, all right? And if they are really related to your topic, okay? So here, as you can see, you have your three answers already, Carolina. So you have already the perfect score over there. But to get those 20 points, you need to ask 3 more questions, all right? When is your partner's turn? Then you have 1 over there, Stefania, and you have 2 already, Mago. All right, good. Now, we're going to continue. That's going to be it again. Very well done, Carolina. I don't know if you have any final comments or something to say before finish. Let me know, please.
I finished, teacher.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much then. And again, the 10 minutes, all right? So that was you, very good. So you and Melanie so far, all right, you use the time very well. We're doing a great job so far. I'm going to continue with you, please, Stefania. You wanted to do it, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Now you know how this works. When you're ready, start sharing your screen, and you tell me that you're going to begin so that I start my timer as well.
Okay, could you see?
Yes, I can see it very well.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, good evening. Yeah, sorry, teacher.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, good evening, teacher and partners. I'm going to talk about eating disorders. And to comments, I'm going to give us a little definition. So what are eating disorders? Although the term eating is in the name, eating disorders are more about than food, okay? They are abnormal eating habits, yes, but they are a complex mental health conditions that often require the intervention of experts, medical and physical and psychological, to alter their course. So eating disorders are mental health marked by an obsession with food, body weight, or body shape. What causes them? Experts believe that eating disorders may be caused by a variety of factors. One of these is by genetics. Twin studies of eating disorders showed that if one twin have an eating disorder, the other twin has 50% probabilities of to have one too, on average. The other cause that I consider is important to take into account is by follow ideas that are fashionable. Okay, everyone have social medias like WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, and in that platforms, we can see a lot of images or articles about the perfect body, but in reality, the perfect body doesn't exist. So I think this type of content may affect you, maybe not cause an eating disorder in any person, but if you are probably to have to suffer an eating disorder, this type of content could affect you. Now I'm going to talk about the three most common types of eating disorders. The first one is anorexia nervosa. Anorexia nervosa is likely the most well-known eating disorder. It generally develops during adolescence or young adulthood, and tends to affect more women than men. People with anorexia nervosa generally view themselves overweight, and they tend to constantly monitor their weight, avoid eating certain types of foods, and restricting their calories. The most common symptoms of anorexia include being considerable underweight compared with people of similar age and height, to be very restricted eating patterns, and intense fear of gaining weight, and also a distorted body image, including denial of being seriously underweight. The second type is bulimia nervosa. Is another well-known eating disorder. Like anorexia, bulimia tends to develop during adolescence and early adulthood, and appears more in women than men. People with anorexia frequently eat unusual large amounts of food in a specific period of time. The person usually feels that they cannot control her emotions, like they cannot stop eating or control how much they are eating. Later, these people normally make themselves vomiting. The most common symptoms of bulimia include recurrent episodes of binge eating with a feeling of lack of control, recurrent episodes of inappropriate purging behaviors to prevent weight gain, a self-esteem influenced by body shape and weight, and a fear of gaining weight despite having a normal weight. The side effects of bulimia may include throat problems for causing vomiting often, and it can cause a stroke or heart attack. We can see that which are dangerous side effects that can cause even death. And the last type of the eating disorders that I'm going to talk is a binge eating disorder. People with this disorder typically eat in unusual large amounts of food in relative short periods of time and feel a lack of control during the binge. But like bulimia, right? But the difference is that people with binge eating disorder don't restrict calories or use purging behaviors such as vomiting or excessive exercise to compensate for their binge. It develops more in adolescence and early adulthood. The most common symptoms of binge eating disorder include eating large amounts of foods rapidly in secret and until uncomfortably full, despite not feeling hungry. Also feeling a lack of control during episodes of binge eating and feelings of distress such as shame, disgust, or guilty when thinking about the binge eating behavior. And finally, the appearance of people with this disorder. People with this disorder are usually overweight or obese. And to conclude my presentation, I want to tell us why I choose this topic. And I think it's very important to know and to search about this type of disorders, maybe eating disorders or mental disorders, because they are closer us than we think. Maybe someone in your family, in your friends, or maybe you are probably to have a eating disorder. And thanks to pandemic, eating disorders are increased a lot. And I really think is very important to know about this topic. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stefania. So let's stop this one. All right. It was 9 minutes, 11 seconds. All right. And I'm going to give you my feedback again. There you go. So again, I'm going to start with this one in general. All right. It was very good. All right. The way you structured everything, I think was very positive. Okay. Very few problems, I think, with that. Some problems with pronunciation with some words, but not big ones, just related to some differences, perhaps the type of accent that you're choosing. But I'm going to give you the standard, all right, pronunciation so that you can follow that one. And here, this is a mixture between pronunciation and expression as well. So let me begin. In this first part, it was not clear for me, so if you can clarify that one, Stefania. At the beginning, you said something similar to, you were talking about those disorders, and you said that they are more about than food, something like that, but it was not clear. If you can remember that one, let me know. If not, I think that you mentioned something, but you forgot to place one object over there. I think that you wanted to say something related to food and that those disorders are more than just about that object and that it involves more than that, but it was not clear. All right, so that expression was not correct. But if you remember what it was, let me know. Then this was a very little one. I think that this was more than a mistake. It was something that you did differently. But if one twin, right, you were giving example twins, I believe, in one of those studies, has, right? In the next one you used has, but in the first one you used have. Then you said by. When you have by, that is going to be a preposition in this case, it's going to be always gerund, right? By following the ideas or by following ideas. Then they are closer us than, but they are closer to us in this case, right? With closer, it's going to be with one more preposition. This one also was not that clear. You were talking about these problems and why you chose to talk about them, right? And you said you're probably to have one of them, but I think that's not correct. So instead of you're probably or probable, perhaps you can use a different expression, right? Because it's probable, or yes, because it's probable or it's possible that you may get to have one of these disorders, or I don't know, right? Or someone closer to you or one of your loved ones. But if you said something like this, it's not going to be correct. So the expression needs to be a little bit different. All right. Then thanks to, I think we're talking about those negative aspects of having these conditions, in the sense that, of course, it's going to be negative for you. So instead of thanks to, I will try to look for a different way to show cause, because using thanks to tend to be a little bit positive in the sense that it's thanks to this, but perhaps you can say, right, it was caused by this or because of this, so that you can give a more neutral sense instead of a positive sense. And then this one I said pronunciation because it was those problems, those conditions are increased, but the D was not noticeable over there, just that one, all right? That's why it was a mixture between those two. And in terms of pronunciation, these ones, very little things, variety. This one was more than U, but studies. Then this one was related to the stress, right? Could affect you. Then control, because it's different if you say control or control, because the meaning is different in the word, right? So control how much of this weight you may lose or gain, etc. Prevent, right? Cause, more like O. In secret, this one more like E. I think in one of those explanations you mentioned this. Appearance, right? The appearance. And obese, right? Obesity and obese. That's it. I don't know if you have any comments related to this before going to my next feedback, Stephanie. Let me know, please.
No, teacher.
Okay, very good. Again, the same logic, right? I'm going to explain that in detail again, but I'm copying and pasting this over here. And in the next class or next conversation, I'm going to ask you about this. And you are to tell me what is the correct pronunciation or what is the expression that should be used instead of that one, right? That's it now. Again, now in terms of the presentation, I think I agree with you. That's something very important that we need to take into account. All these problems, you know that I studied psychology, so to me, it's also very important to talk about those topics. We need to be well aware, right, of what's happening, of the problems that we may have or other people may have. So when you choose to talk about these kind of things, I think it's very positive to create awareness sometimes on people, right? To know what's happening. Perhaps you know that someone is living or experiencing this kind of thing, so you may know how to help, or you may know that this is something kind of serious and you may want to help, right, by talking to that person and so on. So I believe that is very important, very interesting. The way you structure all your presentation was very understandable. Everything was very clear again. And just the time, it was very good. As the conclusion, right, you finish your presentation, you chose to have one conclusion, which was explaining the reason, and it was good. This time was not enough to get to the 9 minutes and 30, right? That was the minimum. It's not by a lot. You have 9 minutes and 11 seconds, all right? It's good. But in the next one, for example, in the last presentation, the final presentation, you're going to need to speak for 15 minutes. All right, so that's going to be way more, 15 minutes. So try to be sure that you're going to have that time. And also the last and the final presentation works with a different parameter in terms of time. All right, so we're going to be a little bit careful with that. That's going to be it. Again, in grade general, just be careful with time and these little details. Do you have any final questions related to that before going to your partner's questions? Let me know.
No, teacher.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's begin with the questions then. Again, I can go with you first, Carolina. What do you say? What questions or question do you have? First, let's begin with one question, please.
Okay. Do you think that the family could be a factor to develop yes, eating disorder?
Yes, I mentioned that the one of the cause, yeah, the main cause of eating disorders is by genetics. So if someone in your family have eating disorder, you are most probably to suffer one.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Now over there, remember, if someone in your family has that disorder, and then be careful with this one, you are probably or probable to have, it's better this expression. You are more likely, all right? You are more likely to get that condition, all right? That's way better. You are more likely to get that condition. Okay, good, good, very good. Thank you very much. Majo, let's go with you now, please.
Okay, teacher. Terfa, how the pandemic impact eating disorders?
Okay, the pandemic has caused many feelings of stress and anxiety, yes, in people, causing to create eating problems, eating disorders, or a lot of feelings that lack of control. And also due the quarantine, the people who already suffered from these disorders could not be treated by professionals, and is something that could be to be worse their situation.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Good. Just one thing, remember in the questions, we're going to try to use this auxiliary. So for example, how, right? How does the pandemic, right, affect the, I don't know, right? The probability of getting or having one of these conditions, right? Good, very good. Thank you. We have one more, and I think you have your 3. You're going to work on the next one then, Majo. So I'm going to go to you, Carolina, so that you ask one more. All right, so one more question, please, Carolina.
Okay. Which do you think that could be a good advice to give a person that has any eating disorder?
Okay, when you know a person with eating disorder, the best that you can do is to search, I don't know if it's correct the term, but to search a medical attention or medical help, because you, like a normal person, don't can to do a lot, only listen this person, don't get mad with their, but the most recommend, I don't know, the best that you can do is to search for medical attention, medical help, the experts. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. On that one, it's okay, Stefania, you can say search, but search as look has also many different meanings. It depends on the prepositions that you use afterwards. All right, so if you say, for example, you can search for some help or attention, right? It's going to be better. And in the other one, I think when you wanted to say, right, that's something I recommend, but you can say that's advisable, right? You can say that it's advisable to use to do that. And the only thing you can do is, as you're going to use the action of listen to someone as an activity, it's better if you use the gerund form, all right? So the only thing you can do is listening to that person, right? Instead of listening to that person, listening to that person. Okay, good, very good. Again, now we're going to, we're going to stop with the questions over there, all right? So that we have time with the next presentation. And because so far you have your 3 answered questions, Carolina and Estefania. You have 2 asked questions, Carolina. You have 1 asked question, Estefania, and you have the 3 asked questions, Majo. So that's very good. The only thing that is missing for you, Majo, is to answer the questions for your presentation, all right? You need to ask 2 more questions, Estefania, and you need to ask 1 more question, Carolina. So it's going to be good, right? We're going to be good. So 1 more and 2 more, that's going to be the 3, and that's going to be the 3 that Majo may answer. Good. So Majo, are you ready to start with your presentation? Let me know, please.
Yes, teacher, I'm ready.
Very good. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. You can start sharing yours.
Okay.
And let me know when you're going to start. And tell me, I'm going to start so that I start the timer as well.
Okay, Tefa, can you share my slides, please? Okay. Good night, girls. Good night, teacher. I hope you are entertained with my presentation because I choose a topic that we all know. I hope pay attention, please. Next. Bolivia. If there is something that is important in this country, is the traditions and customs. It happens that Bolivia is one of the few countries that has been able to preserve the customs and ancient civilization that have even resisted the Spanish conquest. Next, please. It is also very simple and little known place. It hides an amazing number of paradisiacal places and emblematic monuments, typical dishes and foods, as well as unique customs that reflect the simplicity, but at the same time, the strength of this town. Customs differ according to the region of the country and according to the social class too, as everywhere. So Bolivia is characterized by being a very believing country and faithful to its saints. So it's normal that every month they celebrate in different holiday. Many of the tourists come to the land of Bolivia to celebrate the Carnaval, Oruro Carnival, as they are the maximum representation of dance and heritage festival. One of the main objectives of the party falls on the prayer of the patron saint of the town, the Virgin del Socavón, of Socavón. During the tradition, the believers start from a point and go towards the sanctuary where they celebrate a mass. Next, please. Party of the Great Power. Between the months May and June, the city of La Paz pauses to celebrate one of the most important and unique traditional festival in Bolivia, with more than 25,000 local participants. Religious holidays pay tribute to the Lord of Greek power, or Jesus Christ. The parade features thousands of dancers walking the streets of La Paz in colorful costumes, as the masses of spectators clap and cheers on the dancers. Next, please. Holy Week. Holy Week is another of the most important religious traditions, as the churches put together of activities, of schedule of activities to celebrate. Among them is the Station of the Cross, fast, and masses strategic times or hours. Next, please. Alacitas Fair. One week before Carnival is of the most important traditional festivals in Bolivia. Takes place around January 24. The Alacitas Fair or Alacitas Fair takes place in La Paz. Bolivians from all over the country buy miniature items to offer to Equeco. The Aymara, Equeco is the Aymara god of abundance, in the hope that he will bring good fortune and health into their lives. Therefore, to have their wishes fulfilled, Bolivians buy a figure of Equeco to put in their home throughout the year. Then they buy all the objects they want in a miniature size. Have how do you say brujo, chaman, bless, praying for their wishes. The Alacitas Fair is a wonderful opportunity for tourists to get a preview of the local culture and enjoy the colorful festivities. They are other little known and very peculiar customs. Next, please, Stefan. Ahora. ¿Cuánto? Coca, coca is coca. Coca is sacred leaf that was found in pre-Hispanic times. It served as indigenous medicine. Over the year, the medical community highlighted that this leaf was considered a drug because the preparation of cocaine comes from there, but that it could be used for curative effect. It is especially used to avoid nausea and stomachache. Yes, it's all, teacher.
Okay, thank you very much, Majo. Again, I'm going to start giving my feedback, all right? Thank you. Let me start sharing this as well. So good. So the one thing, sorry, I didn't stop this one. One important thing is going to be time management. All right. It was, again, very good, very interesting presentation, but we also got to have these 6 minutes. All right. We need to get at least to 10. All right. It's okay. 9, even, well, above 8 minutes, it's okay. All right. Less than that is going to be very negative in the sense that you're going to lose the points related to time management. All right. Only that's the most important thing I'm going to mention, but I'm going to start with this one, with my feedback, and I'm going to go to the all positive things. All right. So 6 minutes and 17 seconds, more or less. And look what I do.
Sorry, teacher.
Don't worry. Don't worry. It's because we're going to keep improving, right? This is the first oral presentation. For the next one, we're going to improve. I'm sure about that. And you have over here, all right. There you go. All right. So that's something I have to mention. Then related to this, Let's begin. We have some words that we need to work in terms of pronunciation. This is going to be the conquest, right? Conquest, carnival, more like E over there, carnival, unique, more in this part, all right, unique, tribute, all right, tribute, more like T at the end, the parade, this one more like A, parade, fortune, that T more like Ch, like fortune, all right, and the stress in this part, fortune, then peculiar, that's a little bit different, all right, peculiar, like you over there, peculiar, sacred, all right, sacred, and this one is different, this is for the leaf, and found, and leaf, right, you're talking about the leaf. That's in the first part. Here, related to some expressions, remember, good night is going to mainly say bye, right? But to greet someone at the beginning of a meeting or a presentation or whatever you want, you need to say good evening, right? Good night is going to be to say bye. And then, I hope that you entertain or you are entertained. You can say that one, but I think it's better if you say, I hope that you get entertained or that you enjoy, it's better, all right? I hope that you enjoy the presentation, okay? Good. And yes, it was a very enjoyable presentation. It was a very good one. You are talking about Bolivia in a very interesting way, and it's very good when you can do that in English, right? Because you can show our culture to other people, and that's very positive, all right? So good. Then you mentioned something, I'm not sure about that word, but you were talking at the beginning, I don't know if you can, it was at the first part of your presentation, Majo, and you were talking about resistance, but I'm not sure about that. And you mentioned one word, but it was not that clear. I don't know if you remember, you can tell me about that one, but it was one word that was not possible for me to get. It was related to resistance. I don't know if you were talking about culture, other people coming here, or the interchange that you have with cultures. It was something related to that word. I don't know if you remember, Majo.
Yes, teacher. I talk about to the customs of ancient costumes, civilization that have even resisted the Spanish conquest.
Okay, so instead of that one, that I is going to be incorrect over there. You can say resisted, all right?
Resisted, okay.
Only that one, all right? Or you can say even endured, this one, endured, all right? That's also the same in that context, all right? That has endured or resisted. Okay, costumes, good. I think there was a mistake, but in terms of writing, I'm not sure, but it has to be with E at the end, right? The costume with E at the end, or the costumes, right?
Yes, teacher, I don't sure how does.
Yeah, it was like that. Then you said, I get the idea, but you wanted to say that the costumes are different in a certain way, right? And you said costumes are different from, and something like that. I don't know if you remember that part, Majo, if you can give me that idea again. You were talking about the difference between the customs, and you said customs difference or different from one another. You wanted to mention the difference between the customs.
Yes. Are different according to the region of the country and according to the social class.
Okay, so you used the verb to be before. Customs are different, right? Or in which way you told that? Are, right? Are different.
Yes, are different.
Okay, good. If that's the case, then it's going to work very good. It was not that clear for me. Good. From region to region. Okay. This one also, it's correct, all right, line of Bolivia, but usually, as I was telling you, right, then the city of La Paz and so on, it's okay, but it's not going to be that common to see that in English, all right, at least in English, like the language itself, right? We don't use those other, like, for example, the department of Santa Cruz, right, because department is going to be something different, or the city, or, no, that's like something very, very Spanish, all right? In English, we're going to go straight to the point, right? They come to Bolivia, and they go to La Paz. You can say to the city of La Paz, but to the land of Bolivia, perhaps it's okay, again, grammatically speaking, and in every sense, but it's not going to be something common that we're going to read in, let's say, just the way someone who speaks English, all right, natively is going to say. Then this one, spectators, but again, as you can see, even this is marked like with that red underlined, because we don't actually say that with spectators, right? Perhaps spectators with S, spectators, or only people who are enjoying that event, right? But also in that part, you said spectators, it has to be different. Then you said clap, good, it's plural. And cheers, you said one S, but that S is going to be incorrect, right? Because you need to conjugate with plural. So those people clap and cheer, only until cheer, all right, without the S. And then you said 1 week before one event, you mentioned that event. I didn't write that because I needed to write the next part. Is one of the most important, and you were talking about, I think, a las citas, all right, a las citas fair. So this expression is not going to be that complete and not that correct if you say directly is one. No, you can say 1 week before this carnival or something like that, one without the verb to be, all right? One of the most important activities or events take place directly, but without that verb to be, all right? Just that one. That one in general, Majo. I don't know if you have any questions related to this. Let me know, please. No?
No, anything, teacher.
Okay, good. Remember that the next class, you need to explain this, right? In the sense that you need to tell me in your own words. I'm going to leave it like that. I'm not leaving the corrections. I'm leaving that with the mistakes so that you tell me the corrections the next time. All right? Good. So you need to work on that one. And these words over here, perfect. And let's go now, if you don't have any more comments or questions, to the set of questions. You are there, I see you, Stefania. So let's begin with you, please. Let's ask one question to Majo.
Okay, Majo, do you know why Holy Week is important in Bolivia?
Even though Bolivia is a laic country, it's important because many people in Bolivia are believers and complete with Catholic activities.
Okay, good. So because of the majority of people, right, I think more than 80% are part of that church, right? That's the reason why it is very important, even though this country is supposed to respect, right, and not have religious celebrations, but we do because of that majority, right? Okay, okay. I'm going to you now, please, Carolina.
Okay, teacher, sorry, I turned off my camera because it's a lot of windy. So
Okay.
my internet is really bad. Okay, Majo, are you follow some customs and which?
Yes, Carol. I celebrate Holy Week all year, and I go to the Alacitas too.
Okay, good. In that one, if you say all year, it means all the year in 1 year, right? In 1 year. It's better if you say every year, right? Every year instead of all year. Okay, good.
Okay, thank you, teacher. Every year.
Perfect. Now, if I'm not wrong, let me go, Stefania, that was your second one. And with you, we completed the third one, Caro. Thank you very much. Only you, all right? One more, please, Stefania, and we're done.
Okay, Majo, I don't remember if you said, but who is the Ekeko?
Ekeko is the Aymara god of abundance, Stefan.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Great. So only thing, and there you go. All right, so you're good with questions, right? Asking and answering questions. And that was your last asked or answered question, Majo. There you go. And in general, your presentation, again, was really interesting. It's very important, again, to do what you're doing, Majo, because also I remember the things you wrote about rights, human rights, and all those interesting and very, very important things that we need to mention, right? And it's important, very important to have vocabulary about that, because it's a good thing that we need to discuss with other people and with anybody around the world, right? So it's good that you have vocabulary and everything related to that. Again, everything is positive, but I need you to take care of that time management. That's the only thing that needs to improve a lot. All right, you need to get to those 10 minutes, please, because again, you're losing those 20 points and it's a lot. All right, 20 points is a lot. It's important that you have those 20. It's not that hard. In the next presentations, we're going to have a specific structures again, introduction and conclusion and so on. So be sure you follow those ones and try to practice at least once, all right, before having that presentation so that you are sure that you get to those 10 minutes and that's it, all right? Do you have any final questions or comments, Majo? Let me know, please.
No, teacher, everything is clear. But
Okay.
teacher, I don't know if I can leave the class, please.
You can leave now? Okay, no
Yes.
problem. I think we were able to do everything. Also with your partners, I'm going to say just a couple of things. You can leave now. I'm just going to say a couple of things. You can watch the last part, but I'm going to finish the class early as well as your partners are not here. But you may leave now if you have to now. Okay.
Yes.
No, also, before doing it, everybody, please, you know that your partners are not here. They were supposed to be for presentations. It's important that you all fill out the daily survey. Do it, please, Majo, before you leave. Also, you can do it, Estefania and Carolina, please. I'm going to mention some final things with you too, Estefania and Carolina, and we finish the class.
Okay, teacher, thank you.
Okay, perfect.
Bye.
You're welcome.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
girls.
Take care. Bye-bye. Good. Perfect. Thank you very much. And in this one, there you go. So this is the last thing I'm going to mention. Majo, I think, is going to watch, or you can tell her, please, but remind her and remind your partners that today, that's why I'm also going to finish the class earlier. If you didn't work on your words, please do it. Remember, you can do this easily. I'm not going to make this hard for you, all right? Go to Google, and it's as easy as that. Look for words, look for that word, read the definition, and give me one example. Just do that with 9 words, and that's it. Okay, that is it. You don't need more time. It's not going to take, I assure you, all right? It's not going to take you more than 2 minutes. I mean, be sure that you have the word and the definition over there. Copy and paste the word definition, record yourself reading that, and that's it. All right, I did the same in the previous course, and the recordings were none of them were longer than 2 minutes. All right, they were less than 2 minutes. So it's going to take 2 minutes. Okay, do it, please, do that. Be sure that you have also the other 5 recordings. Remember, 1 recording is for paraphrasing. You were able to listen to a lecture about morality, ethics, and so on. That's the first. And the second is don't use Spanish, right? You were to explain some Spanish words, right, in English. The third one is related to synonyms. You had some words in English, but this time you had to give me synonyms of those words. That's the third recording. The fourth recording is imitating. Remember the accent from Scotland. Any of those accents from Scotland, or those recordings, you need to listen to them and imitate that accent for 1 minute. And you have the PDF right on Google Classroom to read the script and, imitate the accent. And the fifth one is any accent that you want. I told you can choose the Australian accent because that's a very popular one, but it's up to you. If you want to go to Africa, all right, and you want to imitate one accent from Africa, do it as well, all right? No problem with that. And that's it. Those are the 5 recordings, plus the 6th recording, that is the vocabulary, right? The words that I told you, that is going to be 2 minutes. And that's it. Do you have any questions about that and related to what you have to do with this? This is for you here, all right? You go to Google Classroom, classwork, and it says, I have to improve. In I have to improve, you have this file. This is the file. You cannot edit this one. You can only view, all right, and see this document. So be sure that you go to your words, right, Carolina? You go to your words, your practice. You have to be sure how to pronounce these words correctly. If you don't do it, we're going to keep practicing, all right? These ones have to be well pronounced, and these ones need to be explained, and you need to tell me what is the right thing to say. For example, here I said were there, so you can take notes if you want, Carolina. I'm going to delete this one, rate. Remember that it's rate and not punctuate, right? And the other ones I'm going to leave it like that because it's not the answer, but it's expression, right? So something related to that. The same to you, Stephanie, over here, right? These words, they need to be pronounced correctly, and this needs to be explained. I mean, you need to tell me what is going to be the best option, or actually the correct option. And I added this one at the end. There you go. All right, that's it. Do you have any questions or comments, Estefania, Carolina? Let me know, please.
Teacher, in my first correction, I don't understand why is it wrong, because also
Yeah.
I said that although the term eating is in the name of eating disorders, they are more about than food. I don't know if it's incorrect, or I don't know.
Okay, because of that, yes, I asked you, right, to give me some context. If that is the context, all right, if that is the context, even though that name is in the word, right, they are more than just, yes, because if you say more about than food, it's not incorrect, all right, but I think that's kind of forced. I think there you can say something that they are more than just about food. Okay, that's going to be the correct one. Okay, they are more, or they are related to more than just or than only about food. In that way, you are connected about to food, which is good, because if you're separating or dividing about with that and then food, it sounds like it's understandable, but it's not well connected. All right, so that will be the the correction, but I needed the context. You gave me now the context, and that will be, all right, that will be the right thing. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, good, perfect. So that's it. Perfect, you're welcome. Then let's finish here. We were to use this time with your partners. That's why we were able also to have some extra conversation, let's say, and some extra things. But as your partners are not here, we're going to finish here, all right? Do what you didn't do yet. If you have any extra questions, you can write to the group and ask me. Also, please, it's important that you tell your partners. I think you're in contact and you know each other, so remind them to do what they have to do, okay? And that they're going to have their presentations, but you know that we are following the rules, all right? And I'm following the rules with all of you. That's it. You already filled out the survey. You don't have anything else to do but finishing that for today. So enjoy your weekend. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being responsible. Okay. Have a good night and see you Monday. Okay. Take care, girls. Bye-bye.
Here, I couldn't be in class on Wednesday. Where can I find the material to record the audios?
Yeah, everything. Yeah, actually everything is in the presentations, Estefania. If you go here, let me do this. It's going to take 1 minute. Go to the first presentation, right? In the first presentation on Google Classroom over here, you're going to see that we only work the first activity. So you need to go to the second strategy. Okay, this is the second strategy. Don't use Spanish. Read the explanation, and then you have the activity. This is what you have to do. Okay, this is what you have to record. Here, everything is explained. Go a little bit down below. This is the third activity. Read the explanation over here, very short. And this is the other activity. This is the other recording. Okay, you need to give me synonyms of these words. Those are two. Okay, two. Then after that, you need to go to this other one, accents. Here, you need to go to this web page. Okay, you press Control-click in IDEA. That's a web page. Go there, and I'm going to do this with you, all right, very shortly. And here, dialects and accents. You have accents from around the world. Go to Europe first. Go to England. And in England, sorry, not England. Go to Scotland. All right. So here, right, remember, dialects and accents, Europe, down below it says Great Britain and Scotland. Here you select any of those recordings. Those are people from Scotland, text, one script. And the script is also here. If you go to Unit 1, accents, comma gets a cure, that's the name of the script. This is what the people there are reading. So you're going to listen to the accent, Estefania, and you're going to imitate this accent for 1 minute. That is the auto recording. So you have 4 so far, all right? And the 5th one, the last one, is doing the same. It's the same text, the same content, but you're going to look for any other accents from any other places, the one you want. You can go to Europe again, and if you want, you can go to England this time, and you select any of these accents from England, let's say London. You listen to that one again and imitate the accents. So you have to imitate the accent of 2 different regions, 2 different locations, 1 minute each recording. It's only imitating and reading. You don't need to understand what they are saying because everything is here. This is the transcript of that those listening files that we have. Okay, so that's everything. Everything is on Google Classroom. If you have any extra questions, perhaps you can watch part of the class, but with this explanation, I think you have everything, Estefania. Do you have any other questions? Let me know, please.
No, teacher, thank you.
Okay, now that you are here, also if you're missing some Carolina, it's the same. Everything is here and you can work like that. That's it. Okay. All right. You're welcome. That's it. Then I'm sharing. Well, I'm stopping sharing now. Thanks again. Have a good night and a good weekend, girls. And I'll see you on Monday. Okay. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
teacher. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. See you.